Well, hello, boys and girls. It's good to see everybody today. Here in Kentucky, it's kind of a gloomy, rainy, wet day, so it's a good day to be in the shop. We're going to turn a piece of pear. I've been getting some of my wood all squared away and ready to turn into turning blanks. So this one's been cut into a circle. I've already drilled a pilot hole or a starter hole on the backside. Like I said, it's a piece of Bradford pear that I cut down. It's been a while back now, and I've got. Let me share with you right quick. I've got my good friend Ruby Claire is with me today. She's going to be taking care of the chat and answering questions or asking me questions, whatever the case may be, or maybe she's answering my questions. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, hello, Ruby. It's good to see you today.
Good evening, Doug, and good evening, everyone in the chat.
All right, we're going to put you back in the background and I'm going to get started, and you are welcome to read off the chat.
Oh, I'll have to go up to the top. Okay, we've got Andy, who's also known as Door 60. Let's see, Jim Selby, Mike Evans, Alex, the Wood Butcher, Clint at Wood Dancers, Paul Houghton, Rob from Klingspor, Malcolm Douglas, let's see, Old Man River, Mark the Gentleman Woodturner is there.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark, you're welcome to come in if you'd like. You've got the link, I do believe.
Susie the Swiss Wood Turner,
Hey,
Andy the
Susie.
Valley Turner, Chris Walters, Albert Dawson, and I think that's all. If I missed somebody, I apologize, but I
All
think I
right.
got everyone.
Sounds good. Welcome, everybody. Ruby, have you got music on in the background?
Oh, I'll close the door. My husband does.
Okay. Yeah. I don't mind it, but I don't want YouTube to give me a strike either. So, anyway, it is good to have everybody with us today. We're going to work on this piece of pear. I said in the title, turn, texture, and tint. In other words, color. So we're just going to see how it goes. I'm going to try some texturing today. Got a new little disc thing that I want to try out and see if we can get any kind of texture on this piece of pear with this disc.
Um, Mark's not going to join us in the chat. He he's too busy pouring Pete's beer, and they
Yeah,
think
right.
the two of them have consumed too many of them.
um, I don't think he's too busy pouring Pete's. He's probably too busy pouring his own.
Probably.
Oh,
Anyway, both Pete and Mark are here.
very good. Hey, Pete. I'm sure you guys are tired. Saw Mark's post a while ago. About half the shop has been moved, so that's work. There's no way around it. That's just work.
Ben Jamin's joined us, and Lucy Bundy Rowe.
Hey, Ben. Hi, Lucy. Again, welcome everybody. It's good to have you.
Wivey Woodshed has just joined in. Good
Hey,
evening.
Wivy. This is about a 6-inch piece of pear that I cut round on the bandsaw. Drilled a inch and an eighth hole to fit my jaws on the other side just to get us started. I'm going to turn a little larger recess on this other side um, when I get to that point. I want to change jaws.
Yeah. Rob from Klingspor was commenting that he doesn't think there's such a thing as too many beers. That's news to him.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do, I guess.
I think they're just plain fatigued from moving equipment and stuff.
Well, that could be too.
If I had to move my shop, it would take more than a couple days. Fred Gilliver has joined us. Hi,
Hey,
Fred.
Fred. You've heard my story about buying this house, didn't I? When the assessor came,
Nope.
they called and set the appointment. So I was here waiting on the lady when she got here, and she came in, had her little camera with her and her notepad, and was taking notes and taking pictures and the like. She said, at toward the end, she says, "This house does have a basement, right?" I said, "Yeah, of course it does. That's where my shop is and all of our storage." She said, "I need to go down there, please." So I let her down and turned the lights on and whatnot. She looked in the basement and she turned back around and she said, "You really don't want to move, do you?" And she
uh,
was serious as she could be. you know, she knew what she was saying.
yeah.
So I just said, "You're exactly right. I do not want to move."
Mark says he's only got the lathe, bandsaw extractor, and yellow cabinet to move tomorrow. Well, that's not bad. Rich Bolduck has joined us.
Hey, Rich.
Barry Chitty.
Hey, Barry.
Oh, Pete explained the problem with moving. He says moving the workshop is the easy bit, but Mark is insisting on numbering all the shavings so that we can recreate the mess accurately.
That's interesting. Somehow I don't believe it, but it's interesting. Well, I'd really like to get rid of that bark. There's a bit of a crack. It runs across here, so I want to remove that. In fact, if I
Thomas Kenny has just joined us.
hey Thomas, here we go. That crack runs right across here. You can see part of it right there. And it runs all the way, excuse me, all the way through that piece of bark up to the edge. And I'd like to at least get rid of that bark. Then maybe we can see if I need to cut the top of this bowl off a little further, which wouldn't surprise me. So let's just start back here.
Lucy must be going somewhere special on Friday because she says she's bringing brownies and flapjack with her.
She's going to Yandel's.
Ah, yeah, I'd like to get over for one or two of those shows.
Yeah, we're going to have to reduce the top of that. That's a pretty significant crack, and I put super glue in there last night. I don't know, it may hold together, but I still got to get rid of that bark.
Oh, Mark just realized he forgot to mention all the tools, cameras, PC, and everything on the worktop, the electrics, and every numbered shaving. I think it's going to take him a week then to mark to move. Old Man Rivers says it would take him a week just to clean up his shop before he could move it. I hate to say it, but it'd take me more than that.
Me too. Me too. When we moved here 10 years ago or so, we were 3 hours away, and cleaning up the shop then, getting it ready to move was, golly, it took me a while. I tell you what, I'm going to ignore that crack for now. I may eat my words here in a little bit, but for now, that's what we're going to do.
Lucy says it's Gideon's class's turn to do cake tuck shop. on Friday, so she's making extra just for Pete, Andrew, and Rob. She's spoiling those guys.
Yeah, she is. She's after swag from Rob. That's what she's doing.
Oh, okay.
That's what she's doing. Yeah, we got to take a little more off that, so we got enough room for a recess.
Oh, Ben says that he can't believe Styles and Bates are shutting down. He hopes the people taking it over will do the same stuff.
Just changed my mind, folks. I was going to do a recess, but I'm going to leave that tendon. I'm going to use that as my foot, so we'll be good there, right where it is. Let's look at this outside edge surface just a little bit more. Looks like I just need a good cleaning pass, so we'll do that.
Lucy says that she has more than enough sandpaper.
Yeah, but there's all that swag, the hats and the pencils, and
Alex says he thinks it's only going to be wood sales from what he understands. Well, if anyone sees any nice pieces of Masser birch, I'd be happy to get a hold of them.
mm, that is fun stuff to turn. All right, fun stuff to turn, and it's so interesting once it is turned.
Yeah. Well, it'll take detail quite nicely.
Yeah, Will. Yeah, it's great.
Rob
I
says,
bought.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I bought a chunk. The first time I went to the AAW in Louisville, Kentucky, it was at the end of the show, and all the wood dealers were looking to get rid of wood, and so I bought a chunk at a really good price, and it came out beautiful.
Well, I used my chunk to make two Saturn boxes in the style that Hans Weisblog makes them.
Okay.
And Rob says that he's swagged out till next year.
Oh, okay. Company only lets go of so many dollars worth, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, Ribby, you'll have to let me know if this vacuum gets too loud. I can't tell how loud it gets.
It's a little bit loud, but that's all right. Well, Lewis, the Klondike Craftsman, has joined us. Hi, Lewis.
Hey, Lewis.
Heck, if I had to move, I'd be in a lot of trouble because just my garage is stuffed full of wooden machines and tools.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in a 3-car garage before I moved here. Didn't have the whole thing in shop, but I had enough sawdust and whatnot.
I'm surprised you're not using the tailstock on the end of that.
Well, I could have, probably should have. Um, I don't know. I'm pretty confident with this chuck and this method of holding. So, and it wasn't bad out of balance to begin with.
Okay. Well, it's not that big either, so
Right.
that helps. Now, are you still going to make a mark on the very bottom
I,
for
I,
where center is?
um, well, there is a little bit of a mark. If I get rid of it completely while I'm sanding, I will. I'll
Okay.
put another one there just in case I need it. I'm hoping I'm not going to need it.
Well, when you turn it around, don't you want to undercut your foot a little bit?
I'm going to do that before I turn it around.
Okay. Oh dear. Benjamin just said to Lewis, "Hello, Lewis, my 103rd favorite Canadian." I wonder what number I have. Maybe I'm not one of his favorites.
Maybe you don't want to know.
Yeah, that might be too. Hmm. So, what grit are you going to sand up to on this one?
Well, I'm probably going to go all the way to 320, and then we're going to try to do a little texturing on a section of it. Then we'll try a little coloring, see how that goes.
Okay.
And then we'll turn it around.
Clint at Wood Dancers has joined us,
Hey,
and
Mike.
RG Custom Calls and Wood Turning,
Well, hey,
and that's Rod, I believe.
I believe so. Correct us if we're wrong.
Royce, the boy, is here, and he says that I'm his first behind his family in Canada. Well, Roy, if you come over to Canada to visit them, you'll have to stop by. Oh no, Pete is telling Mark that his glass is empty. Hey
Stop it
Mark,
just to take a look.
hey Mark, my glass is empty too. Well, Ben says that I'm in the double digits, so I'm still pretty safe. I didn't realize that in England they knew so many Canadians. I was, well, Alex's cup is empty too. Mark, you better get busy.
All right, enough of that noise machine. I get tired of listening to that thing. All right, now if I can untangle my drill. There we go. I was in a store here just the other day, and I found there I am. I found these sanding discs. These are flat disc. This is a 40 grit, I believe, and it's got the lock or twist lock, which is what I use on my sander for my with my sanding pads. So we're going to try just to do a little bit here with this heavy grit, just see how it goes.
Use that as like a texture.
Yeah, yeah. It's the disc itself is very stiff, and I'm using the edge of it as I go around here. not a heavy texture, but it is a texture.
Well, it is making a definite mark.
Yes. Kind of bounces around just a little bit. I tried it on a piece yesterday. They had a couple of soft spots in the wood, which was one of my problems. But then it also, I was trying to I was running the lathe slowly just to see what would come, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. So I took it all off, and I think that's going to be fine, just like that.
Yeah, the Cornish maid has joined us. Good evening, Katie.
Hey, Katie. I'm going to
Did
put
I
just a
mention
little.
Fred Gilliver earlier? He's with
Hello,
me.
Fred. I don't know if you did or not, but we'll say hello, Fred, again, just in case.
Absolutely.
All right.
And Todd at Glen Cove Works is in.
Let's see, I got
Now,
to
what's
change.
this you're wiping on?
I got a little sanding sealer going here.
Okay. Mike Canfield at Reap the Whirlwood is in.
Hey,
He's from Bluegrass Country.
all right.
James Crawford, Raymond Wise have both joined us as well.
Hey, guys. Got a little pear going here. We've just textured it with a sanding flap disc. Show that to you real quick. That's a 40 grit flap disc with a twist lock connection through that, so we'll get rid of it. That came in a 2 or 3 pack, very, very cheaply, so they must have been trying to get rid of them. Just let that flash off real quick. And then I think what we'll do, I think we'll spread a little white liming wax on it. Then again, a color might be better, wouldn't it?
Well, if you put a color on, then you could sand it lightly. That should leave the color in the deeper areas.
Instead of the white liming wax, how about we use a little blue Hampshire sheen?
Okay.
Let's see, I was going to undercut that just a hair before we, let me do that before I wax it.
Now, Mike Canfield says he's in Versailles near Lexington.
Now, this is Kentucky, Ruby. That's not how it's said. That's how it's said normally. Here it's called Versailles.
Versailles. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's
Now,
like the time I was sent to a chap's place, and he lived on Peary Street, and I couldn't find Peary until somebody explained to me that that was how they pronounce Pierre Street.
yeah, I understand. Versailles, Kentucky is where the Kentucky Castle is. It has been owned by umpteen dozen folks throughout the years. And kind of an interesting story with that place. It finally was purchased and completed and did really well. And then the owners have just recently put it up for sale. Real healthy price tag, of course.
Well, I think all real estate right now has a healthy price tag on it.
Oh, yes.
They expect within the next 5 years, though, that's going to change.
Wow. There will be some people who go broke. They've speculated and paid big money for property that wasn't worth near what was being asked, and thinking that it's going to just do nothing but go up. But if it goes down, if it has a correction back to what it ought to be, then there'll be some people get hurt. Excuse me. Give that just half a second to kind of set up in there. This wax is it dries pretty stiff. It doesn't take very long.
Boy, it's
See, a lot of
coming.
it comes off. A lot of it comes off.
Now, we've been having a discussion on pronunciation of a number of different words.
Sure.
Mark was commenting that he grew up in the U.S., traveled extensively both to Lexington and
Mm-hmm.
okay, however you want to say Versailles, and lived in Middleburg, Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah. The last 3 weekends, I was in a town that is spelled Berlin. I grew up calling that Berlin, but here it's called Berlin.
I'd have said Berlin.
Yeah, normally I would too. Okay, as you can see there, we've got a pretty nice texture in there. It's colored with blue. Even the crack here, see, I partially filled that last night with some CA, so it's got a little blue, little wax in the top portion of the crack. We'll see how it does when I start turning the inside. But that's coming out pretty good. Kind of like it. So anyway,
Now, Pete says he always takes American visitors to Pennsylvania, as it's a village of 3 houses and a petrol station near Bristol.
let's see. We've got another town or two here.
And Mike
Oh,
says he likes that effect with the blue.
well, thank you. It's different, um, and I know it's not for everybody, um, but that sanding disc gave it kind of a feathery kind of texture.
Yeah.
Then the blue. Be interesting to see how it does as it goes along.
Now, Mike was asking what the wood is. It's Bradford pear, Mike.
Bradford pear, which around these parts is invasive species. A lot of people are cutting them out now because of that. They were planted as ornamental trees, because they are a pretty tree, no question about that. But because there is no there's nothing to get rid of it, it just proliferates. The birds mostly spread the seeds in the spring. Here we go. We're missing everything. So we can just start again. Started off using a Doug Thompson 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and it's kind of starting to get dull. So I've switched over now to a Sorby 1/2 inch. Most of you folks in Europe would call this a 3/8. The big difference is we measure the bar, you all measure the flute. I understand that.
Well,
Not a problem.
in some areas they measure from the edge of the flute to the outside of the.
Yeah,
That's the third way of measuring.
from here to the far edge. That just reminded me I need to switch cameras, don't I? Ruby.
Well, I was following the chat and how people were trying to pronounce different words, such as Worcestershire.
Yes. Yeah, and just spelling that one out is terrible to try to spell it out for pronunciation.
And Todd thinks that's a nice wildcat blue, Doug.
It yes, it is actually. Yeah, you know somebody's truly from Kentucky when they refer to a blue as whether it's wildcat blue or not.
And Mark says my pronunciation isn't even close. It's supposed to be Worcestershire.
It's amazing how many people have a speech impediment when it comes to that word. And some people just flat can't say it, so they just butcher it on purpose.
But it makes a really good sauce.
Yes, it does.
Now, did you get that crack out of the way?
The crack is still there. Let me just take a peek at it since I cleaned the top off. Yeah, the crack is still there, and in fact, there that's it, right there. We may end up. We'll see as it goes. If it continues to grow inside, we will have to cut the whole top off of it, which is okay.
Oh, Mike says that you all bleed blue.
You can't see it in that light. Those veins are as blue as they can be right there. So
Yeah,
yes, you're exactly right.
yeah, mine are too.
Well, you're a Kentucky Wildcat at heart.
Right.
I went to give blood one time. The lady says, "You from here in Kentucky?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "You see these veins are blue, don't you?" She said, "Yeah, I've heard that before, but it'll still come out red." She put that needle in my arm, started taking that blood, and it was pretty dark.
Well, Mark says that when he bleeds, he uses blue plasters. I think he
Yes, he
means.
does.
I think he means Band-Aids.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a pretty blue band-aid on the other day, or plaster, as the case may be. All right, I think we've gotten to the
And
point we need to take a look here and see what's going on with that crack. And it looks like, yeah, it goes all the way through from the origin right here all the way to here, and it's starting to come back up to the edge.
Jennifer's Craft and Creations has joined us. Good
Hey,
evening,
Jennifer.
Jennifer. AGK Woodworks has joined us.
Precious.
You beat me to it.
We're going to use Ruby's favorite tool.
Hi, Andrew.
There's Ruby's favorite tool right there.
Yep, the homemade parting tool.
Yep, and it works so good. I don't know if I'll be able to see that or not when it's turning, but we're going to try. See if I can get just under there. I don't want to lose too much. Oh, here we go. That's perfect.
Sometimes what I do is put the mark on the tool rest.
Yeah.
Oh, Pete says, don't ask Helen about Mark's blue finger.
Well, there's one thing I can say about this wood. It smells good. Almost smells like cherry, but it's not. It's definitely pear.
And Andrew is saying, hello, Mark, aka Fingers. I guess we have a new name to call Mark by now.
There was a fella a couple years ago that we used to call Fingers. I haven't seen him for quite a while. He's quite the airbrush artist.
Well, I only know one really good airbrush artist down your way, and that's his name just suddenly flipped out of my mind. This getting old sucks. Drew Blair.
Right, right.
If you ever get a chance to look up his work, it's spectacular. Yeah, we can call your parting knife a carving knife now.
Tell you what, I'm gonna change gouges again. That one is dull as well. Well, I know this one's dull. It's got. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Can you tell that's yellow dust on there? That dust is from.
Yep.
It's. Well, I'll tell you here in a second. That is from Osage orange, and that stuff is hard. It turns beautifully, but it will dull a tool. So I'll take the one I was just using, give it a quick sharpen on the CBN wheel.
Now, Mike Canfield is asking what Mark's parting tool is made from. I'm not sure about Mark's, but I know yours is made from a butcher knife.
Yes, this one is a butcher knife. Just a cheap. I'm sure it was not expensive. I didn't buy it. This was in a box of stuff that came as a big conglomeration uh, at an auction. But I've got a second one that's even thinner.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
sawzall blade. That's a sawzall blade. I don't use it as much. I like the butcher knife one better. It just works better. Oh, that's better.
Now, Rich made a comment, if you want to see tools dull quick, get some catalogs.
Yes.
I find it depends on where it grew. If it grew in sandy soil, then yes, it will. But if you got it to grow in a nice area, it works quite well. Ronald Todd has joined us.
Hey, Ronald. A lot of familiar names and some that are new to the channel. Glad to have all of you with us today.
Absolutely. Especially on a rainy day like this, a cold, rainy day. Looks like you're getting some nice clean cuts.
Yeah, especially after I sharpen. The pear, one of the things I like about pear and why it's so widely used is it is a tight grain wood, um,
Mhm.
and it works. It machines very well. You put a sharp tool to it, and you can get some very fine curls coming off real nicely. Just check my depth. Go just
Now,
a little
Ben
deeper.
says that in Suffolk, his soil has more sand than soil in it.
Right.
And Lucy says theirs has more chalk than soil.
Mm. Ah, got a lump right there.
I'd rather have a lump than a divot.
Well, that's true.
Roy says that his soil has mud.
Tell you what, today mine has nothing but mud.
Now, ours too, that storm that you're getting is just coming straight up north and hitting us. And then it's going over to visit Lewis.
Ah, nice and smooth curve there. It's still got some ridges in it, but we'll take care of that real quick. Raise my tool rest just a touch and tip it into toward the bowl. Just a little bit, not much. Turn my scraper up on edge. Pulled the scraper out to use it the other day, and it wasn't cutting worth beans. So I took it to the grinder, made a couple of passes, and lo and behold,
It works again.
it does.
Amazing that, isn't it? It's like
Isn't it
magic.
though? Isn't it? Got a little place right in the transition. Yeah, been watching the Richard Rafin videos, and the man uses a scraper a lot more than I ever would have thought to. And it's just amazing to me how well a scraper really does work. And that's exactly why I got that particular scraper was for bowls.
I find it depends on the wood, and the harder the wood, the better scrapers work.
You're exactly right. Yeah, if you're trying to scrape pine, you're going to have to pull out, tear out every time. Never fails. All right.
And
Well,
Mike
these,
says that the Osage orange you were talking about has a high mineral content no matter where it grows. And that's the
yeah.
forest during him coming out.
I'm going to mute myself while I'm sanding here.
Okay. Oh dear. I guess you'll have to explain what a blue devil is. Yeah, this pear that Doug is turning is very, very nice wood to turn. Now, Lucy, is your potato now Mia or is it missing in action? I'm not sure I should tell him that, JP. I hope you're keeping well, JP. By the way, my Easy Wood chuck and jaws should be arriving the next 2 days. Mark, you have to be nice. I won't ask what happened to it, Lucy. And on behalf of Doug, I thank you for the donation, Jamie.
All right. All right. What JP say?
He says, thank you for muting. Can you do it more often? But
That's
he also made a donation.
nice little super chat there. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. JP, you're such a good guy for doing those kinds of things. I do appreciate it. I know others do as well.
Oh dear. Jamie says he's okay. He had some good news today. It turns out that I think he meant broke his neck and back when he was younger, but that it's easily fixable without surgery. Well, I'm glad to hear that, JP. But I imagine you had some spells growing up that you were wondering what the problem was.
A little rough spot here. I thought I sanded those out, but
And Old Man River has to leave. He has to pick his wife up from work. Says he'll
all
see
right,
you
Dale.
tomorrow night.
Yeah, Dale. We'll see you tomorrow evening.
And Lucy says that Gideon took a shine to her potato and refers to it as soup potato from the kids' books. Mark, you be nice now. He just asked JP if he has the spine. Well, along the same lines, Jamie, I found out when I was in my mid 30s that apparently my lower legs from the knees down and my feet were all crushed, and that I wasn't supposed to ever walk. Nobody bothered to tell me when I was growing up, and I was an athlete all through school and university.
Hmm.
But I did have pains in my legs, and I figured, well, those are just growing pains. So I imagine you experienced many of the same problems.
My
Oh,
mother, my mother was having some issues and went into the hospital to take care of some stuff. They did an X-ray on her head. Lo and behold, they found she had had some things going on that she didn't know anything about. So you never know. We've done the sanding sealer on here, sanded to 320 sanding sealer. Now we're using a little Axe abrasive sanding paste.
I noticed lately you seem to be really getting into these small bowls.
My wife said the same thing. Why are you turning so many small bowls? Well, right now that's the wood I'm using. They're just small. Besides that, the bowls this size are good for an hour long demo. Here we are, it's 3:47. We're getting close to done. We'll be done right at 4-ish. So anyway, that's why. It's no particular reason. I love to turn the larger bowls, but right now the wood I'm using just happens to be a little smaller sized, kind of AGK size.
Mm.
All right, gonna turn it up now. We were at 400, now we're at 700. Still using that same piece of my paper towel.
Just buffing it.
Yeah, working that grit down, letting it break down. Um, I'm hearing it get softer and softer. The grit that's in the sanding paste starts off at about 320 or so, and then just breaks down from there till you get to the microfine paste, and they'll start at about 1,000 and break down further. But as I'm hearing it, it gets quieter, and the scratching gets softer, and then I can also feel it. It's I can feel it getting where it's not grabbing as much. We're right
J,
there.
JP was saying that he was lifting real heavy stuff when he was younger, all on his own, like patio doors full of metal, bay windows with metal,
Mm-hmm.
and full packs of UPVC on his own, and that might have caused the issues. You
Yes.
probably find out it is all of the those injuries happened way before even then.
Yeah. May have been. You're never really sure.
Yeah, those injuries I had with my lower legs apparently happened within my first year of life.
Mm. We're running at 1,400 RPMs now. I've just continually changed to a clean spot on this piece of paper towel and turn the speed up. And what I'm after now, once the grit has done its job, I'm after getting rid of the oil that's in the paste. It's
And that just needs to be absorbed into your cloth.
yes, I have to get it off. Once it's off, the reason to get it off is so the wax does not get dulled from underneath. If you wax on top of mineral oil, your wax just goes dull on you. So I'm working it off, getting it clean. Um,
Well, the
couple,
higher speed will make centrifugal force bring the wax to the surface as well as the heat that's generated.
that's a big part of it, yes. Um, a couple of people here recently have been talking about take it as far as you want and then give it a good wash with denatured alcohol,
Yes.
which that would take care of the oil for sure. Just cut right through it. That's one of the benefits of mineral oil is part of your any of your paste. It can be washed away without much trouble. It does break down very easily. That's also an issue. A problem is that because it washes away easily.
Hmm. So I guess you're not going to put this bowl through the dishwasher, right?
No, no. All right. Another paper towel. And we'll use, oops, wrong camera, little axe polishing and restoring paste. This is a carnauba wax. Okay. Uh, this rain today is causing last year's COVID to give me a fit today. All right. Like any other wax, less is more.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit to spread around. While we're here, I'm going to put a little dab on this outside. I don't want to wash away all the blue that I put in it, but it should be long enough now that it's pretty well set where it is. And I'll get a little bit of blue off. That's going to be normal. I'm also going to have paper towel because of the texturing, but it's not
Ah,
bad. It's not bad. Let that sit for just a minute. It'd be best to leave it for 10 minutes or so just to let it flash off, let any solvents that are in there kind of flash off. But because it's alive, we'll go right ahead. We'll still see a nice shine.
JP thought you were using Yorkshire grit at first and then realized, nope, wrong stuff.
Nope, nope. Now, to mention that, JP, I do, let me, if I can get to where I can open this cabinet without losing everything. Where is it? Oh, it's buried. I've got I've got one full can of original Yorkshire grit. I've got two of the extra fine, and then over in my box of Easy Wood stuff, I've got brand new Yorkshire grit, regular and extra fine. And when I go do a Yorkshire or a Easy Wood demo, that's what I'll be using. But this is a Doug demo, so so I use what my other sponsor gives me to use. All
Yes,
right, there we go.
I have a couple of I have the Yorkshire grit, but I also have Rob's Superior grit.
Yeah,
So it depends on where I'm at and what I'm demonstrating.
sure, sure. Yeah, when I was talking with Doug and Chris about doing the Easy Wood stuff, I said, now I use the axe because they came to me before Glenn did. In fact, Glenn never did ask me to demonstrate for him or to push his stuff. If he had of, that's what I'd have been using, but he never did. So that's okay. And he and I are still friends. We talk. We had a good talk when at the AAW. It's a good time. I told him that Joe had asked me to give him a big hug when I saw him. I said, I don't think I will. And when I mentioned it to Glenn, he said, I'm glad you don't. All
See,
right.
that's one advantage of being a female. You know, I don't mind
Yeah.
giving you guys hugs at all.
Well, normally I don't mind too much. It's not beyond me to do that. But
Now they're people here talking about their first jobs and how much it paid. Lucy says her first job paid 790 pounds a month. And Pete says that his first job paid little, but when he was 16, beer was 20 pence a pint and petrol was 57 pence a gallon. And he says, I is old. No, no, Pete, you're still a youngster.
There's a piece of Bradford pear
That looks
Turned
great.
and turned and polished. Here's the inside, and then there's our outside. Excuse me. Nice texturing with that 40 grit flap wheel. I did have to stop the lathe to do the texturing. It doesn't do it deep enough or coarse enough to do it while it's running. I do have to clean up the. I'm going to keep the tenon on it as the foot. It's concave in there, and it's back cut on the top edge just slightly, so that it sits up off of the table just a little bit. Don't really have enough light for you to see that, but anyway, it sits up off the table nicely. That crack, cut it away. There are still some other. There's a vertical crack there that I filled yesterday. I think that was the only other big crack. The biggest one was that one that went across there. So we got rid of it. So there you go. Nice little Bradford pear bowl. And I will have comments when I post this on my Facebook, and people will say, best use for Bradford pear they could think of. They just hate Bradford pear.
Well, I can think of a lot of things you could use that little bowl for.
Oh, absolutely. We just gave my sister-in-law a bowl that was a little smaller than that, piece of walnut. Um, my wife said something about it being awfully small, and my sister-in-law says, "Oh no, it's perfect for my rings and jewelry and stuff at night when I go to bed." So she'll set that on her bedside table and dump her earrings and bracelets and necklaces and what have you right in there. It'll be right there for her when she's ready to go.
Or if you take out the um, change out of your pocket and your keys
Hmm.
and put it in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For us guys, we I go dumping stuff. That was my eye drops that I carry. Okay, but anyway, there's keys. There's a fingernail clip. You know, it'll hold all kind of stuff. That's just a good size to have sitting around. That'd be just about enough peanuts to get me started.
Well, fill it with M&Ms and
Yeah, they have to be sugar free. Excuse me. This little cough today. This rain is causing my cough to be something awful. But anyway, I will get some wax on that, clean that up just a little bit of another touch of sandpaper and some wax on there, and clean that up, and it'll be ready to go. It'll be ready to go, folks. It's been good to have you all today. It's been we're 2 minutes shy of an hour. Yeah, an hour. So in 2 minutes, I'll be done telling you thanks. But it has been good to have all of you. I know Mark has been busy. And Pete helping Mark as Mark's in the middle of a move. And I don't envy you, Mark. I was saying a while ago, the assessor came in and took a look at this basement, and she says, "You don't want to move, do you?" I said, "No, I don't want to move. Primarily because of my shop area. My what is it, 13 by 26, I think it is. Um, just this little area is so jam packed of mostly garbage, literally, cut-offs, chunks that who knows if I'll ever use them again. But they're pieces that they're too good to throw away, but I don't know if I'll use them. Wayne was a little down today, so he wasn't able to come in. Ruby was able to come in, and I do appreciate Ruby to come in. No cake on Friday. I don't know why that caught my attention, but it did.
Ronald says you're going to have to get a new calendar soon.
I don't go to Winchester enough to get a new calendar unless my brother-in-law brings me one for Christmas. He stops. They come up from North Carolina at Christmas, and he stops in Winchester where they make a soft drink, L81. It's the only place they make it. He stops there and gets all of it he wants because he's out of town. They'll sell him all he wants. If I go there, they'll only sell me 2 cases. They'll sell him all he wants. But with that, he'll get a calendar and he'll bring me a calendar. But that thing was out of date when I got it. That's a 2020 calendar of all the years. It's a 2020, and I just leave it on January. Just leave it. It's just the way it is. It's like going into a mechanic shop and they have that pinup girl calendar, and it's who knows what year that is, but it's probably not a recent one. But anyway, we'll see about the calendar, folks. It's been good to have you today. It's always a good day to be in the shop. Hope you're spinning something around, making sawdust and shavings, and just having a good time. But be safe. Let me invite you to Worldwide Woodturners real quick. You just go to woodwidewoodturners.org. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Central, midnight British Time. Um, there's on the website, there is a button that says click to go to meeting. You click on that, it takes you over to Zoom, and one of the moderators will let you in real quick. Doesn't take
And,
very long usually.
and the best part is it's free. And there's always a really nice demo that's been presented. And Doug
Absolutely.
being one of the moderators, he'll let you in as long as you've been kind to him on his channel.
I'll let you in anyway. This is a group that Eddie Castleman got started. He doesn't claim it. It's not his group. It's our group. Anybody that's in there, if you come, you're automatically a member. No, like Ruby said, it doesn't cost a thing. There's no fees, no fines, no nothing. You just come and enjoy yourself. Only rule is there's a no but rule. Uh, it's okay to have one, but you don't say I like that, but you don't you know who
It's
am I to
only
say?
we only have positives, no negatives.
Absolutely, absolutely. So bring a piece and show it. Show us what you've been doing over the past week. I'll show this tomorrow night. You're seeing it here tonight, but you'll see it again tomorrow night if you come, along with maybe 2 pieces or 3 or 4 or 5 that I shared or that I did yesterday, along with tips. This week, tomorrow night is a night of tips, tips,
Oh,
tricks, and
I
something.
forgot about that.
Yeah, and when we do that, it's an amazing night. I've got 5 things written down, and I thought of 2 yesterday that I did not write down, and now I've forgotten what they were. But I'll probably think of them as we go. So
Well,
it'll be a great night. You'll get something out of it, I promise you.
well,
Again,
the one thing I'm going to show is my carving.
absolutely, yes, yes. Ruby has some great stuff that she holds back from us until she gets to Wednesday night, and then she shares that, and it's wonderful stuff.
Well, it took a long time to get that finished.
Absolutely, that's a lot of work. A lot of work. Um, some Wednesday night, Wayne comes along, Martin Clarkson comes along, um, Paul Hannaby comes along. Then we have 1 or 2 out of Australia that come with us. It's an amazing night. So if you're a night owl or just you can't go to sleep tomorrow night, come join us on Worldwide Woodturners. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been a good time. I told you I could waste the time and get us to 4 o'clock. It's now 4:03. So I'm pretty good at that. Anyhow, it's been good. Thanks for coming along. I'm going to say bye. Ruby, you want to say bye? Well,
Bye.
it'd be nice if I brought you up, wouldn't it? There you go. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time right here at Wood Spun Round. Bye-bye.